it's Lana here from Sage and Sound with a quick video on how to make a decision. Now, there are lots and lots of different ways to make a decision, and a lot of them involve writing lists and using the cognitive, rational part of our mind. So today's video, I wanted to focus on something a little bit different. I wanted to focus on the emotional tone of making a decision. It's emotions that often hold us back from making decisions. So fear, most commonly. So what we want to do is use emotions to help us make a decision that we're likely to be happy with afterwards. So there's a few different questions that you can ask yourself to help yourself figure out what's likely to be the most satisfying choice for you. So the first one is choose the most energizing option. So when we talk about values work at Sage and Sound, we talk about finding those activities that bring you joy and that sense of aliveness and a sense of satisfaction when you're done with it. So have a think about your different options and figure out, well, which one's going to bring you the most energized feeling. And if you know your values, then you'll be able to use those words to help you understand which is likely to be the most energizing choice for you. But if you don't, it's just about that feeling in your heart, which is most energizing, exciting to me. The second way that you can have a think about what might be the best decision for you is to think about what decision, which choice would you most like to share with your friends. And if your friends aren't very supportive, pick somebody else, like your mentor or your mum, someone that cares about you and has your best interests at heart. Which option would you most like to share with them, that you'd most like to say, hey, guess what? I've done this, and that taps into this sense of pride and thinking about our best selves. So again, we're trying to minimize the amount of fear, the emotion that might be blocking us from making a decision, and have a think about the opposite kind of emotion. This is already done. I'm strong. I am proud of myself. What option have you chosen? And then the third way that you can have a think about it is to think about which option makes the best story. So once we have lived through an experience, fear goes away once we start living it, and very often the consequences of that choice, even if they're not great, that doesn't exist for a really long period of time either. So what's the best story? Which story do you want to tell? If you're thinking about, well, do I want to move somewhere new and try something different for a year, or do I want to stay in my hometown? Even if you move and it's a complete disaster, you can move back, and then within a couple of years, you're still a more interesting person. You got a funny story about the town that you moved to with all these hopes and dreams, and then the crazy ways in which they didn't come true. So for a lot of decisions, you can actually focus on the story I'd like to create. And again, we're sort of moving out of the emotion of fear and things being heavy and thinking about it from a different perspective. If we're thinking about it as a story, then we're starting to think about it a bit more in the third person, as though it's happening to somebody else, and that is a super useful way to get out of our own fears. We're often much more rational about other people's decisions and can see clearly what path they choose. So if we can apply a bit of that to ourselves, that can help make the path easier as well. So if you've done all the pros and cons lists, you think you have explored like the benefits, consequences, all the different options that could come out of choice, and you still can't figure it out, we're going to go with our heart. We're going to go for the thing that we think is most going to light us up, energize us, that we'd be proud to do, and that will make a great story afterwards. So give it a go. It'll be useful to use those 3 questions as a bit of a journaling exercise that can help you move through the fear and come out to the other side where you actually are proud. And you can write about what it'd be like to be proud of that and telling that story, and to be that energized when you're in the moment. All those things are just going to tap into the emotion, and that is going to kind of essentially do what we can to drown out the fear that might be holding you back from making that choice. So they're my 3 tips for making decisions with your heart. Love to know if you find it helpful or not. If so, just make a little comment or a smiley face in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you.